ngayon sa Singapore Discovery Center. So maglibot tayo guys kung anong meron dito.
In a show of strength. And not only does he lift the stone, he flings it all the way to the mouth of the Singapore River. It is believed that a fragment of this fabled stone endures to this day, better known as the Singapore Stone, one of our country's national treasures. The next king in line is Sri. A young boy, Hamnani, comes up with the idea of using banana slugs to trap the Toya when they leap out of the water. The jealous king, threatened by the boy's intelligence, eventually orders him to be killed. The last king of Singapore is Parameswara, originally a prince from Palembang. After a failed uprising, he flees to Singapore with his supporters, a group of Orang Laut or sea people. Parameswara is warmly welcomed by the local ruler, Sang Aji, a Siamese vassal. However, he betrays his host by assassinating him and usurping the throne. The murder of Sang Aji angers the Siamese, who invade Singapore, leading to the fall of the Kingdom of Singapore in 1399. Just like that, the winds shift, as Parameswara flees north and finds refuge in Malacca. There, he found the Malacca Sultanate, which grows to become a major trading hub by the early 1400s. Flourishing maritime trade with China and strong demand for spices from the West herald the age of commerce in Southeast Asia, and Singapore becomes a naval base for the newly established Malacca Sultanate, with the fearless Orang Laut warriors forming the backbone of the naval force. As the 15th century draws to a close, the Portuguese open up the first direct maritime trade route from Europe to Asia, and as they expand their empire, their gaze falls upon Malacca. In 1511, the Portuguese attack and capture Malacca, leaving Singapore as one of the bases from which the Sultanate launches attacks on the Portuguese. Sultanate, and Singapore takes on a new role as a trading outpost for Johore's riverine economy. Attacked the Portuguese trade ship Santa Catarina in 1603 off the coast of Singapore. The region turns into a hotspot for conflict as alliances shift and break. The Portuguese and Johor Sultanate forge a peace agreement in 1610, but this peace is short-lived. The alliance angers the Acehnese, who attack and burn down Singapore in retaliation, leaving it in ruins. And Singapore sinks into obscurity as the Malay archipelago becomes an arena for European contestation over the next 200 years. Stamford Raffles. By 1818, Raffles has become the Lieutenant Governor of Bencoolen and is concerned over Dutch dominance in the region. Accompanied by Major William Farquhar, the resident of Malacca, Raffles leads an expedition to find a suitable location near the southern end of the strait for a British port. The expedition reaches Singapore, docking in its waters off St. John's Island in January 1819. On 6 February 1819, Raffles signs a treaty with the Temenggong and Tunku Hussein Shah, which allows the British East India Company to establish a trading post in Singapore. When Raffles first arrives, there are already hundreds of indigenous Malays and Orang Laut living here, and many more soon make their way to Singapore from the region. The establishment of a free port in Singapore draws an influx of migrants in search of new opportunities. They bring their heritage, language, and lifestyle practices with them, turning Singapore into a vibrant and culturally diverse trading hub. From coolies to merchants, from convict laborers to philanthropists, these enterprising pioneers lay the foundations for modern-day Singapore. However, as the population surges, living conditions become overcrowded and rife with diseases. Impoverished laborers turn to opium, gambling for solace, and secret societies grow in power. Crime and violence mar the young colony. As the 20th century unfolds, investment in education and public health gradually raises the overall standard of living in Singapore. With increasing affluence, a new middle class emerges. More English-educated locals take on leadership roles in government and society. The people in Singapore are starting to take their destiny into their own hands. However, storm clouds are gathering around this vulnerable island. Just as powerful forces around the world shaped its history, the winds of change will soon and in the beginning, there is just a tiny island without a name, a jewel of green in the midst of swirling seas. When men arrive, they call it Pulau Ujung, the island at the end, and then Temasek or Sea Town because of the small trading outpost that takes root here. But how does it become a kingdom, famous for its 5 kings? Some say it begins with a prince fleeing from his enemies. But no one really knows where the myth ends and where history begins. The prince arrives on an island with pristine white sands and finds a majestic beast roaming its jungles. Surely this place deserves a new name, just as glorious and majestic. And that is how he comes to name it Singapore, or Lion City. He is Son 11 Tucker, the first king of the Kingdom of Singapore. Sri Wickremawira takes over the throne from his father in 1347. The flourishing Kingdom of Singapore draws the attention of the powerful Majapahit Empire from Java, who sends an envoy to demand its submission. Sri Wickremawira refuses, and the furious Majapahit king orders an attack on Singapore. But the attempt fails, and the Javanese are driven off. In 1360, according to legend, a supernaturally strong man, Badak, enters his court. He competes in a challenge to lift a heavy stone in a show of strength. And not only does he lift the stone, he flings it all the way to the mouth of the Singapore River. It is believed that a fragment of this fabled stone endures to this day, better known as the Singapore Stone, one of our country's national treasures. The next king in line is Sri Maharaja